What if the secret to completely transforming your health wasn't about, punishing yourself with some crazy new diet or just endlessly grinding away on a treadmill? What if instead it was just a conversation with your future self? I know, it sounds a little bit like science fiction, but today we're unpacking two fascinating sources that literally flip our traditional understanding of health and healing entirely upside down.
Welcome to today's Explainer, where our main focus is exactly that, adopting your healthy future self today. We're going to bridge this incredible psychological shift with a really quick 5-minute physiological routine that clears out the stagnation keeping so many of us stuck. So let's dive right into this. Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover 5 key areas. Number 1, the hidden health disconnect. 2, meet your future self. 3, the lymphatic missing link. 4, the 5-minute daily flow. And finally, number 5, winning the small battles. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the hidden health disconnect, managing decline versus curing yourself. Okay, picture this, a puffy face, a bloated belly, heavy legs, just endless fatigue and that horrible brain fog. And honestly, maybe the most frustrating part of the whole shebang, being completely dismissed by doctors who just look at you and say your blood work is perfectly normal. Well, according to former boxer and lymphatic expert Sean Connell, if you're dealing with this, you're not imagining it and you're definitely not overreacting. What you're actually experiencing is massive physiological stagnation. And if we ignore it, this stagnation can eventually lead to some pretty severe diagnoses. Take global executive Lori Coots, for example. Back in 2006, she weighed over 300 pounds and was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. When she took a really close look at what was happening in her body, she came up with this incredibly vivid definition. She described it as her body failing to use insulin properly. It felt like this thick sugar sludge was just pumping through her bloodstream, all to the terrifying impending doom soundtrack of the movie Jaws. It's a pretty striking image, right? A body just completely overwhelmed. But here is the really harsh reality Lori discovered when she dug into her diagnosis. In our conventional medical system, the goal for a disease like type 2 diabetes is almost entirely just to manage it, not to cure it. Now, doctors absolutely work incredibly hard to prevent fatal complications. But for a hard-charging type A executive like Lori, just managing a slow decline was totally unacceptable. She knew she had to change the equation. That brings us to Section 2, meet your future self. This is where the big psychological shift actually happens. So after talking with all these ambitious medical professionals, Lori had a massive realization. She realized that her 300-pound body was actually performing perfectly for the exact way she was feeding it, moving it, and resting it. If she wanted to change her body, she had to change the inputs. She had this light bulb moment and said, if I imagined my future healthy self and started living that life now, that would be the way I would achieve my goal. So she just started asking herself every single day, what kinds of foods does that future healthy person eat? How does she move? And the results? Absolutely staggering. 110. By simply adopting the daily habits of her healthy future self, Lori lost over 110 pounds. But it gets even better. She achieved a perfect lipid profile and kept a completely healthy normal blood sugar level without any medication for over 5 years. She literally reversed her type 2 diabetes entirely. Basically, she proved that if you give it half a chance, the human body is this amazing, highly adaptive, self-healing machine. Okay, but how do we physically accelerate that self-healing machine? Let's get into Section 3, the lymphatic missing link, and how we actually clear that stagnation. So if Lori gives us the psychological steering wheel, Sean Connell provides the physiological engine. Remember those symptoms we talked about earlier? The puffiness and that heavy fatigue? Well, Connell defines this as lymphatic stagnation. To put this into perspective, and this is wild, you can actually trap up to 50 kilograms of inflammation and fluid right inside your tissues when your primary waste removal system slows down. 50 kilograms. So it's not fat, it's literally just trapped waste. And the sheer scale of this system in your body is mind-blowing. You have 200,000 kilometers of lymphatic vessels running through you. Just think about that. That's 3 times longer than your blood vessels. It touches every single cell you have. In fact, medical textbooks actually state that if your lymphatic system stopped working, you would die within 24 hours. It is absolutely vital to keeping you alive and energized. Now, anatomically speaking, your lymphatic system runs right alongside your circulatory system, and its job is to collect the toxins and cellular waste that your blood just can't handle. But here's the catch, and it is a huge one. Unlike your circulatory system, which has your heart acting as this continuous automatic pump, the lymphatic system doesn't have a pump. None. Zero. It relies entirely on your movement, your breath, muscle contraction, and gravity to actually flow. So in our modern, super sedentary world, it's just completely stuck.
So how do we fix it without spending all day at the gym? That's section 4, the 5-minute daily flow. Here is your physical action plan.
You might think you need, 30 minutes of hardcore aerobics every single day to get things moving again. But Connell argues for something way faster. A mini trampoline, or what's known as a rebounder. The movement is incredibly simple. It's just a gentle up and down bouncing motion. So why is this so effective? Well, at the very bottom of the bounce, your body experiences twice its normal body weight. This shift in gravity acts like gentle resistance training. It physically opens and closes millions of one-way valves in your lymphatic system, pumping that trapped fluid right out. And the best part? It literally only takes 5 minutes.
Now, timing does matter here. Morning drainage is all about energizing yourself, depuffing your face, and sort of turning on the taps for the day, especially since you've been lying stagnant all night. Evening drainage, on the other hand, is about clearing out the stress, the toxins, and the inflammation you picked up during the day. It calms the nervous system and gets you ready for deep sleep. Now, if you can only manage to do one, Connell definitely recommends the morning. But if you can swing just 2 minutes of both, that is the absolute gold standard.
Okay, but what if you do this and that puffiness is still hanging around? The source material gives us some really great deeper troubleshooting steps. First up, balance your body's pH and electrical voltage. How? Literally by grounding yourself barefoot on the earth to combat all that positive charge we soak up from modern technology. Second, address any hidden parasites that might be causing inflammation. Third, make sure you're replenishing the 90 essential nutrients that are often missing from our depleted modern soils. And finally, take advantage of natural tools like morning sunlight and fasting, which, by the way, is literally your body's built-in biology to break the fast. All right, so we've got the mindset down and we have the physical flow. Let's bring it all together in Section 5, Winning the Small Battles, which is all about making sustainable daily choices. You see, adopting your healthy future self doesn't mean you have to fight this one massive, overwhelming war. Lori Coots realized pretty quickly that she had a short attention span, so she broke her health down to the cellular level. To really succeed, you have to frame your health as micro-battles. You need strategies that you can actually live with. Things you can win every single day for 2 days, then 2 weeks, and then 2 months. You've got to keep it rational, not emotional. And Lori came up with some amazing, super practical hacks for these micro-battles. She tracked her sleep and exercise obsessively. That way, she knew that a sudden sugar craving was often just her body begging for a nap after a terrible night's sleep. And get this one's wild. To control her portion sizes, she promised herself she could eat absolutely anything she wanted, even a Snickers bar. But she had to eat it with a knife and a fork to force herself to be conscious about it. She also learned to fidget constantly, which burned up to 300 extra calories a day. And because, let's face it, life is way too short, she mapped out a personal glycemic index. This meant she could have a perfect scoop of premium ice cream every single day without ever spiking her blood sugar. That is exactly how you make habits truly sustainable. Which really brings us to the ultimate takeaway of this whole explainer. If you want to transform from feeling puffy and sluggish to being powerful and healed, you have to combine that mindset of your future self with the daily mechanics of lymphatic flow. You have to, as Lori so powerfully put it, start eating and moving like your life depends on it. Because, well, it does. So I want to leave you with one final provocative question. Will you choose to adopt your healthy future self today, stepping up to those daily micro-battles and 5-minute resets? Or will you choose to stay stagnant, physically and mentally stuck in the past? The framework is sitting right in front of you. The choice is yours. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I highly encourage you to start that conversation with your future self the very second this ends. Catch you next time.